Good morning, everyone. My name is Fiona Callaghan and I am working here in KPMG, and I'm delighted to be involved in the KPMG Children's Book Ireland Awards, and indeed to help you with the task of being a junior jury. I'm here today to talk about the most wonderful book that I read. I'm going to give you a brief introduction to the book. I'm going to talk about why I really enjoyed it so much, as well then as talking you through an exercise which gave me lots of giggles from parts of the book that I read. So if I could summarize the book in a one-liner, what is it all about? It's about two lesbian girls who embark on a rom-com type romance over the summer. But you know, you can't not but talk about the amazing characters that Kira wrote about. So the main character in the story centres around Saoirse. So Saoirse has just completed her Leaving Cert and she's about to embark on university at Oxford University. And she's just recently broken up with her ex Hannah. And she has also fallen out with Izzy, because Izzy sided with Hannah over something. So two of those relationships are over. She also has a bit of a turbulent relationship with her dad. Her dad is about to remarry, and this news came as quite a shock to Saoirse, because her own mum is actually very sadly in a care home suffering from dementia, and it's a genetic type of dementia, and her mum is only 50, so it's a cause of huge concern and worry for Saoirse as she thinks ahead to perhaps, you know, what does that bode for me in the future. So she decides that she wants to just, you know, enjoy her summer. Leaving Cert is over, maybe a dalliance with a romance, but absolutely no strings, nothing serious. So that all goes to pot when she meets Ruby. Ruby is fun-loving. Ruby is over on her holidays, staying with her cousins, very near where Saoirse lives, and Ruby is just a great character, full of life. So they decide essentially to have a bit of a romance, a bit of a fling, but Saoirse is adamant this is going to end in the autumn and that's it. Ruby decides, as a bit of fun, that they would base it on a movie montage of various different rom-coms. Now, Saoirse isn't a big rom-com fan, but she decides to go along with it anyway. And to my delight, it brought me right back to my own childhood, or my teenage years rather, when they were talking about such classics as Notting Hill and Love Actually and Four Weddings and a Funeral and all these amazing movies. And they decided to sort of live their summer romance through these different types of movies. So it really is just such a fantastic read. On a more serious note on the book, I think the things that struck out to me and the things that I really admired was the way that the author, you know, had such a depth of emotion going through the whole book. There were times where I was laughing, crying with laughter, as well as crying with sadness, most especially over, I suppose, the very strong emotional bond that she has with her mum, that Saoirse has with her mum, and who she cares so deeply for in the care home, and feels they could have done more. They could have brought her home, but it just wasn't safe to do so after she wandered off. But you know what, underlying it's really all about Saoirse's own fears for her own mental health and prospect of dementia in later years. So very, very strong emotion displayed in the book, which you know, for any adolescent is very real. I mean, Saoirse is at a time in her life where she's now left school. She's about to embark into a new country, a new university, without that family support, without the friends that she has back home, and it's so very often that happens to all of us as we come through those early adult years, but we don't really think about it. But there is so much going on at that time, and it's important to look after us. So I think the author really deals with all of the emotion, and perhaps in Saoirse's case, the way she is maybe not dealing with all of what's going on and she articulates it so well across the book. As I mentioned, on reading the book, there were parts, there was some of the language which was so teenagey that I wasn't 100% sure on, but there was one part that I laughed, and I'm going to just read the excerpt from it now. There's one movie that they're going to see, and here's the quote. "Yeah, but love stories are timeless. Look," she pointed at the screen. "That person is calling on a landline. If they had mobiles, this movie wouldn't even make sense." So they're talking about a scene from Scream, the movie. But it just got me thinking as to how, I suppose, Saoirse's early adult and my early adulthood were so different with the use that she has of technology and mobile phones. And I'm not a complete dinosaur, but back in my day when I was a teenager, there were no mobile phones. We didn't have mobile phones. And I just started to think about, what did I do differently then that, my children now just take for granted? So, and the most important one for me, I think, is we used to talk to people. We'd pick up the phone and we'd talk to people. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen on mobiles, but it certainly happened much more often with the landline. You spoke to people. We had no text. Other things, as I got to thinking about this, was checking your bank balance online. We had to go to perhaps an ATM and go in and key in your number and see what was the balance on your account. Checking your email, and there was just about email then, but you checked that on a computer. You didn't have your mobile to tap into and things like that. So there were, I think one other thing actually that really struck me was about the punctuality of people. And it is so important if you make a plan with someone, you make the plan and you meet them at whatever time. But because of mobile phones now, I find people saying, "Oh, actually, I'm running 15 minutes later. Actually, can we push that out to whatever?" Whereas when I was a teenager, we said we'd meet at 8 o'clock, and guess what? We met at 8 o'clock. So, it just, it struck me, and there were a number of these things written so well in the book, but that's one thing that just jumped out at me, and I thought I'd share it with you because I'm sure you are well au fait with every technological advance that there is at the moment. I would like to wish you all well in your quest on jury duties, and I send you tons of good vibes from me and everyone here at KPMG. So for now, I'm going to say cheerio and best of luck to everyone. Take care.